First of all, few people know that there are approximately 25,000 Sumerian clay tablets discovered, which are nothing compared to the number of undiscovered panels. In Iraq, there are 10,000 archaeological sites, only 15% of which are discovered. But what happens to the undiscovered rest, and why has it not been excavated yet? Why not extract officially? The reason is that American imperialism controls this region in a harsh way. There are thousands of priceless Sumerian tablets that were destroyed by the weapons of the American army. There is a temple of Ur that received 400 missile strikes, so that it makes it difficult to discover new information about our origin and our relationship with these Anunnaki. What are the Americans looking for today, and was the cause of all these current wars? Do you think the only reason is oil? Or that the Gulf War in 1991 was the cause of many thefts, not only archaeological sites, but also Iraqi museums such as the Museum of Mosul, Kirkuk, Karbala, and Basra, without forgetting the invasion of Iraq by the Americans between March and April 2003, when they demolished the main door of the Baghdad Museum, demolished and stole about 70% of the archaeological treasures. 200,000 pieces are invaluable, and we return to the question, what is the reason for the military interest in this region in the world? For the answer, we must go back thousands of years and look at the geography of the region. Here we see the map of Mesopotamia, we see the great Sumerian cities, their temples of the heavenly watch that have always been the places of worship of these Anunnaki gods. They were slaves subject to their gods. They say that the origin of evil belongs to these Anunnaki creators. Despite this, they did not criticize their gods, but rather had complete respect for them. They did not discuss anything, and the Sumerians were always an extension of them. The selection of the Mesopotamian region by the Anunnaki was not random. Mesopotamia includes the so-called Durandas, the Star Gates. It is said that there are 25 Taka gates in Iraq. Of these 25, 7 have vital importance, one in Baghdad, the other in Abu Shrim, which dates back to the city of Eridu, the first city of the Anunnaki, Ninvanipur in Ur, and the most important one in Babylon. The word Babylon comes from Babylon or Bablu. This word in Sumerian is Kadishi, which means the door of God, or Shuanda, which means the power of the heavens, and also means the opening that transports the living. They can move from one region to another in the universe or travel to other dimensions. In Barks' book, The Secret of the Dark Stars, the Anunnaki travel through these stellar gates using chariots called Jazira. Jazira means luminous wheel, which we know the starships. These chariots seem to be making noises. The ancients associated them with the noise of the dragons. It seems that in order to travel they had to be programmed. Access point means to open another portal in another wall of ice so they can get to their destination, to any desired land that we know of in the solar system or beyond, which all naturally have these energy vortices, through which tunnels travel faster than the speed of light to other places. It could be in the same world or this vast universe. We can find many Sumerian tablets such as Alakumbi in the third panel. Here it says the gods prepared their chariots, the god of war jumped into his chariot, all the chariots, and with great noise he headed to the sea. In another text written on the tomb of Thutmose III we read, a sound will be heard in this region, then the great god passed in front of them like the noise of a thundering sky. This is the description of the chariots that pass through these stellar gates, and there is also a description of the Anunnaki chariots that speed up and slow down by changing the direction of their rotation. This shows the interest of many governments that are fighting over a piece of the cake in this region. The matter until recently was very normal, although the theories related to conspiracy and aliens and their relationship with humans, especially ancient civilizations, are not recent, but rather go back to the days of writers of the last century, and what they published about their ideas about the reasons for the greatness of ancient civilizations in the land of Mesopotamia in particular, which they attributed it to an external source, most likely alien. In any case, until recently, these were just theories believed in or promoted by science fiction and mythological lovers, until the matter reached what it is now, which is expected to prompt the U.S. government to intervene, as the mixing of the mythology of the ancient Mesopotamian peoples with fantasy theories caused the practicality and ambiguity of those civilizations led to the emergence of a relatively new theory, which, within a very short period of time, turned into a great passion that devoured both social networking sites and blogs, to the extent that gatherings and meetings were held for it to discuss it openly and present it as an irrefutable fact.
That theory included talking about what was the text on which the American series Stargate SG-1 or the Stargate was based, which was produced and shown in 1997, and its plot revolved around an American space exploration team, which managed to find a strange circular gate in an archaeological area. In the Middle East, this portal acts as a direct and immediate transport medium, with other portals on planets and worlds very far from Earth that modern spacecraft may not reach until thousands of light years away. 2. Be a way that shortens the distance and transports the team consisting of soldiers and scientists to those planets and societies. Space to explore. The text of this series and its story linked to Iraq through this theory, which spread like wildfire through the announcement of its promoters that the ancient civilizations, the most important of which are the Riphidians, were scientifically advanced and mysterious because they got help from extraterrestrial space creatures who came to them and provided them with a helping hand and technology, which ensured the transformation of human beings from people who live in caves to very advanced civilizations compared to their ancient times, through the information, technologies, and know-how it possessed. Sumerian civilization, to be the first Iraqi public figure to speak publicly about this theory. In addition to the widespread theory, it enters here to guarantee its role by announcing that part of those gifts and technologies granted by the Ananuki space creatures coming from the planet Nibiru, and this is according to their belief, but the truth that we have reached is that the Ananuki people are behind the first ice wall and it was a Stargate real. It enabled them to move between the lands behind the wall and our land through the gates of Iraq and Baghdad in an easy way, as this gate and its location disappeared with the extinction of ancient civilizations, which prompted the United States, and within an elaborate plan, to invade Iraq in search of this gate, and then withdrew from it when it failed in finding it. The claim made by the adherents of this theory confirms that the Stargate is not a single number, but rather more than one, and most of them, if not all of them, are located in Iraq. The first of these was suggested to be located in the city of Nasiriyah, specifically in the city of Ur, where there is a giant ziggurat inside it. A temple, inside which the first of the Stargates is located, while the other is located directly in Baghdad, in one of Saddam's palaces, which he kept there for his own reasons. Believers of this theory return to say that the relationship that ruled the United States and perhaps the world with Iraq was built on the basis of this Stargate, where during the 80s Saddam was a strong ally of the United States and the West, until he began work that included the restoration of the ziggurat of Ur and other Iraqi antiquities, which worried the United States, and the rest of the Western countries are aware of the existence of such a gate according to the theory, to the degree that caused the deterioration of relations between these parties, until it was said that Saddam had actually found such a gate, and this is what prompted the United States to impose a blockade on Iraq in 1991, and launch the first Gulf War, where the theory says that Saddam's invasion of Kuwait came because he needed some parts to repair the gate, which was located in Kuwait at the time. Saleh. He is one of the promoters of this theory based on the books and theorizing of Zakaria Sitchin, which he relies on as a source. It is likely that Saddam Hussein, at some point in time, had obtained the technology, texts, and perhaps sufficient information about these portals and the Ananuki creatures, and decided to launch them to the public, which he forced the United States, represented by the Bush Jr. administration, to take an urgent decision to invade Iraq without a clear or real justification before Saddam could release that information, and for the United States to control any belongings of this superior technology abroad, and so that Iraq does not turn into a Nazi German other. The interesting thing is that old articles dating back to 2003 proved that this theory is not new, as it was associated with the time when the war on Iraq was declared by the Bush Jr. administration, where Saleh said that what brought the theory back to the fore is the progress of more and more of the people who announce its validity today, and that they worked with the Army and the U.S. government on such programs that include space technologies in Iraq and elsewhere. The American interventions confined to Iraq and Syria instead of the rest of the world, according to Saleh, confirm this theory. Iraq, in addition to increasing the influence of the states united in Europe, will limit Russia's power and influence it, not in the Middle East, which is far from both sides. Many Americans, at the level of politicians and the rest of the world, know about these details, according to Saleh, and are sure of them, to the extent that many members of the U.S. Congress have submitted proposals to look into and sometimes investigate these allegations, but they are usually subjected to bribery or threats to remain silent. That this is the main reason that made the United States unable to provide a convincing reason so far for its invasion of Iraq. The media weightings on the internet and social networking sites for the promoters of this theory have reached the point where Trump's recent statements about returning U.S. forces to Iraq were considered based on the goal of trying to obtain these gates again, given that the United States already obtains Iraqi oil through political agreements. And the fact that both American and Iraqi oil has flooded the market with a lack of demand and buyers to the extent that its price has become much different from the price of a barrel of water. I hope you will support me with a like and subscribe to publish more. Thank you.